wide receivers are falling down draft boards. Should you be panicking? Should you be going and buying these players? Or should you be trying to sell them while you can? We're going to give you the outlook for each of these guys today, what you should be doing with them, who you should be targeting in your trades, and who you should be actually targeting to send away in your trades. So do us a huge favor. Make sure you drop a like on the video. It's free, easy, and helps us out so much. So if you would just do that real quick, drop a like. We really appreciate it. Super appreciate you guys all so much. Make sure you're subscribed. If you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, we're going to have Dynasty content in depth all year round right here. We'd love to have you join our community, and over on flockfantasy.com/domain. That's where our community gathers and exchanges Dynasty content and ideas. So if you want to head over there, you get all of our exclusive content, rankings, articles, Discord, databases, etc. It'll help you win your Dynasty leagues this year. So flockfantasy.com/domain. The first guy on this list, and a guy that has been pretty much seeing a steady decline if you look at his keep trade cut graph, it's going to be Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is currently the wide receiver 29 on keep trade cut. Keep in mind, he is just one season removed from a 28% target share, which was 6th in the league, 1,400 receiving yards, which was 5th in the league, 777 yards after catch, which was 2nd in the league, 14 touchdowns, which is 2nd in the league, 21.2 points per game, which was 3rd in the league. He was 4th in yards per route run. He was 1st in yards per touch. Yards per target, my bad. He was 1st in yards per reception. He was 2nd in yards per team pass attempt. He was 2nd in juke rate. He was 1st in fantasy points per route and per target. Was that enough, Nathan?
No.
Was that enough?
No.
Look, I understand. Let's get some things out of the way first. Deebo Samuel, on a crowded offense. We get it. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to take away some rushing attempts, but not all of them. We saw that last year. Deebo Samuel still did get rushing attempts last year, regardless of what you think about Christian McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk is, in our opinion, a little bit overinflated from a dynasty and fantasy perspective right now.
Yeah, both.
Is Brandon Ayuk a better pure receiver than Deebo Samuel? Maybe you could make that argument. Is he a better fantasy player? No, I don't think so. I think with the rushing up, you have the rushing upside coupled with, again, when I listed those stats, the target share, 6th, the receiving yards, 5th in the league. Yak, 2nd. So it's not like the dude is just, doing the Alvin Kamara split where he splits half of his production. He was an elite receiver. One year ago, he was an elite receiver. Do you really think he can't get back to that? I mean, he admitted to the press last year, and I don't think this is just coincidental, that he was sluggish. He let contract negotiations distract him from the game. And honestly, it takes a lot to admit that. I'm going to take Deebo at his word. And I'm also going to acknowledge that if that was Deebo Samuel sluggish and slow and not at the top of his game, this year's Deebo could be even better. And honestly, we've seen the beat reports out of San Francisco. Deebo Samuel has looked better in this year's training camp. Why are we surprised? It's not like the dude's lying to us. He may not be a top 5 wide receiver again, and we're not betting that. We're not going to go in and say that he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver by any means. But he can definitely split the difference and be a fringe wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I mean, if you don't think that's in his range of outcomes, at least if you can't even admit that, I don't know what to tell you. Because we've seen his upside. I mean, all it would take, you don't think it's in his range of outcomes. What happens if Christian McCaffrey goes down, which is not impossible? And we're not going to predict that, but to say it's not in his range of outcomes is just not true, because while it's a crowded room, you've got guys there that are injury prone. Deebo Samuel is one of the most talented guys there, and he is somebody that is 1 year removed from having an elite productive fantasy season.
Yeah, and it's totally fair to be concerned. Like, hey, how many elite producing assets can you really have in one offense? Well, I mean, last year, George Kittle was an elite producing tight end. Christian McCaffrey was a top 3 running back, and Brandon Ayuk produced as a top 16 wide receiver while Deebo was banged up and not himself. You can be concerned that Ayuk can take away from Deebo as a receiver, sure, but who are they committed to contractually long term? Is Deebo Samuel. Like, Ayuk isn't on San Fran after this season. They can't afford to pay him.
Right.
And they're not going to tag him. He's not worth it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Which may take up Ayuk's value. But for now, I mean, don't act like Ayuk is a better fantasy scorer than Deebo.
Wide receiver 29, guys. Wide receiver 29. Deebo Samuel, who was just wide receiver 3 a season ago. Like, we have got to be taking him at that price in the 6th round. Come on.
You got the next guy.
Michael Pittman up next, wide receiver 31. And he continues to fall. Again, steady decline. Everyone's worried about Anthony Richardson and his rushing upside. Everyone's worried about Jonathan Taylor. Everyone's worried about the 6-back offense. I mean, we just saw Shane Steichen produce 2 wide receiver ones in a 6-back offense last season. And no, Anthony Richardson is not the level of passer that Jalen Hurts is going into this year, but he could be in the future. And Michael Pittman will get paid. I think he's sticking with the Colts long term. I think they've made that clear that they're probably going to commit to paying him first and foremost. But look, with Pittman last season, on a horrible offense. Yes, they passed the ball a lot because they were down a lot, but he had 141 receptions last season. 141 targets.
That would be a lot of points.
Last season. 13.5 points per game, even with that horrible downgrade of the season.
Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson is not going to pass the ball as much as Matt Ryan did on a per game basis this season, but his quality of passing will be so much better because he can actually throw the ball more than 10 yards. He's going to be throwing it down the field.
And he actually can move in the pocket.
Yeah.
And he can actually have anticipation on his routes.
Route participation first in the league.
He participated a lot of routes.
100% of the routes last season Michael Pittman was a part of. You have zero concern about his opportunities, zero concern about his target share, zero concern about his snap share. First in the league in snap share last season, third in routes run. I mean, what do we expect from Michael Pittman this year? Do you really think in Dynasty that his value should be the 31st most valuable wide receiver in Dynasty fantasy football?
Do you think Anthony Richardson's going to be a rookie every year after this one? Every year after this year where Michael Pittman is in a contract year, he will get paid by the Colts. He will get a contract from the Colts. Why? Because the Colts are a good franchise that pay their own players. People want to take the Jonathan Taylor movement and they want to blow it out of proportion. I'm here to tell you it's bullcrap. They made Darius Leonard the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. They made Quentin Nelson the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL. They pay their own. They grow them here. Michael Pittman was drafted to Indy. They're going to pay him. The Colts are loyal to their own players. Michael Pittman has said he's not worried about contract because he knows he's going to get paid. Good players get paid that deserve it, and that line up with market value standards. That's the case here with Michael Pittman.
And he wins routes more than almost everyone in the league. His total route wins last season, second in the NFL, 297 route wins and a 50.3% route win rate, which was 7th in the NFL among wide receivers. That means Michael Pittman is an easy target for Anthony Richardson.
Let me ask you something.
Easy.
What was his average depth of target last year?
Oh.
And I guess it wasn't super long.
No, not at all. 6.9, 92nd in the NFL. Again, reinforcing easy target.
And the route wins is another metric that we like to look at to find these QB-proof PPR monsters like Chris Godwin, like Michael Pittman, like Deontay Johnson, like JSN will be. Michael Pittman is somebody you should absolutely not be worried about. Jameson Williams is going to be the next guy on this list. And with JMO, look, we've had a couple of these. I'm going to preface this. We love Jameson Williams, and I was very high on Jameson Williams out of the draft because of his draft capital, and I knew what his situation could be in Detroit. But Jameson Williams' price got way too high, and we told you to sell him while he was high, and we nailed it. We just nailed that one. That was one we got. Jameson Williams. It's been just a snowball of issues off the field and on the field for Jameson Williams. Last year, he did nothing. He played in 6 games. He only had 9 targets. He had one, and yes, you're going to say limited sample size, limited snap share. I get it. He had 1 reception out of those 9 targets for 40. And yes, granted, it was a 41.
But he should have had more touchdowns and should have with those 9 targets because that really meant a lot there.
Regardless, Jameson Williams, it doesn't really matter what he did last year. He, number one, is now suspended for the first 6 games of the season.
So his value plummeted.
He was coming off an ACL in college. He now is having a hamstring injury that's going to put him not with the team for the rest of training camp, not to mention he's not going to be with the team for the first 6 weeks of the season. I mean, the odds are starting to be really stacked against Jameson Williams. And now you have a market correction where Jameson Williams has fallen to the wide receiver 33. I love how this is his big drop. You have the big drop right there in the middle of the graph when he gets suspended, and then just a gradual decline as these things start to build up with JMO. The drops are a real thing with JMO. And look, you can say, oh, Jamar Chase had drops. Oh, I mean, Jerry Jeudy has drops. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy does have drops. Jamar Chase's drops are a little bit different, and that's not even what's driving his value down. What's driving his value down is that all of these things are starting to stack up against Jameson Williams, and the odds are getting slimmer and slimmer that he's actually going to be one of those wide receivers that's going to be a cornerstone asset for your dynasty team, somebody that was worthy of being drafted that high in the NFL draft. It will be. I want JMO to come back. JMO's only 22 years old. He'd be good for Amon-Ra. He'd be great for Amon-Ra, I think. So I'm not celebrating JMO's career like starting to not do super well. I want JMO to do very well. But we told you he was overvalued when he was at the top of this graph. You see where the flat part where it's top? We told you to sell him there. And I'm sure if you're looking numerically, 48.65 was his value in keep trade cut at that point, and he's down to 3,900. We really did implore you to sell him, and we got trashed for it. I'm victory lapping that one. I'm sorry. But
wow. Yeah. Our next guy here is going to be Chris Godwin. And Chris Godwin, it is a carbon copy of Michael Pittman's situation, but Chris Godwin is a better NFL wide receiver. And he's actually produced as a wide receiver one in fantasy in the past. 15th in points per game last season. Yes, he was playing with Tom Brady, but he still had 142 targets. Check this out. Total route wins, 256, fifth in the NFL. Sound like someone we just talked about?
How about average of the target?
99th in the NFL, 5.6.
Every
same
time
thing
with these guys.
I don't care how bad Baker Mayfield is. I don't care how bad Kyle Trask is, who I think actually may start more games than Baker this season.
Yards after catch? Guarantee it's top 10.
Yeah. 6th in the NFL, 487.
What can I say? It's almost like we've seen that with these wide receivers before.
You don't need a good quarterback for Chris Godwin to score points.
Nope, you absolutely do not.
It's easy as that.
Yep.
And honestly,
that's an easy one.
When you're comparing his price to Jameson Williams, are you taking Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, and Deebo Samuel over Jameson Williams? Yeah, because they're all going in the same range.
Chris Godwin's going behind those guys.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney's still going as the wide receiver 50. He's going to be the last guy on this list. And look, we told you to sell him too. Kadarius Toney. Here's the thing about Kadarius Toney. Yes, he was human highlight film. Human highlight reel in college. This is not college. Kadarius Toney's going to be 25 this year.
Wow.
This isn't like, he's still 22.
Dang.
No, Kadarius Toney's going to be 25 years old. And yes, he's playing alongside Patrick Mahomes. But what does that actually mean when you're playing on that Chiefs offense that has a different wide receiver one every single week? Not to mention Travis Kelce dominating every single week. And with Kadarius Toney, who is quite literally made of glass. Would it be better for the NFL and better for everybody involved if Kadarius Toney was great? Absolutely. And I'm rooting for the kid. But he's made of glass. We don't have to predict injury. He's already hurt this year. Right? What else are we expecting from Kadarius Toney? You can probably get something from a college highlight lover for Kadarius Toney, and we're going to recommend that you get off while you can. His value will continue to go down. He is not going to be the wide receiver one in Kansas City. He is not going to be the wide receiver one on any team. He is not that type of player. He never was. He never will be. And he will probably, yes, there might be a time where his value spikes again, but that's not one we're betting on here. We're going to see what we can get. And what can you get for Kadarius Toney?
You can get Gabriel Davis.
Now that is a no-brainer.
Please.
And we have been notable truthers on Gabe Davis and his.
And we were right.
And we were right about.
He's a good price now.
But absolutely every day over Kadarius Toney.
Dalvin Cook.
Guys,
if you want a cheap running back to go win your league who's actually going to score consistent points this year, please go get Dalvin Cook. A second-round pick.
Yes.
Come on. Rookie pick. Marvin Mims.
Yes. Probably Josh Down and Jaden Reed. Yes.
Yeah. Those guys are cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. All right. Again, different situations for all those guys, but those are guys falling down draft boards, wide receiver position. Look, we know it could come across negative when we tell you that, number one, we told you, which we did.
Told you.
We did tell you.
We've admitted we're wrong before, though.
We just had a video.
We just did.
We did a whole video on things we're wrong about.
Come on.
But these guys, you really should try to get off some of these guys while you can, and you should be buying the ones that we love that we're getting cheap right now. So do us a huge favor. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got Dynasty content coming out all year long. It really helps us out when you like the video and subscribe. And flockfantasy.com/domain. If you do the annual Mother Flocker tier over on flockfantasy.com/domain, you get one of these player blueprints. It is, did I say player blueprints?
Team blueprint.
Why do I say that?
You're just doing a wonderful job, man.
Team blueprint. It is a plan for your dynasty team, a good idea of how your dynasty team is built now, a multi-year plan, moves to be making right now. You're going to want one. They're really cool. I just can't say the name for some reason. So, flockfantasy.com/domain, the annual Mother Flocker tier gets you that. Also, all of our rankings and stuff are over there. We've recorded 7 videos at this point today, so this is my point where I start. My brain's like
powering down.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.